Call of Duty Black Ops 4 Zombies. We're checking out the map IX. This is a tips and tricks. I thought it'd be neat to kind of go over this. Some of the kind of concepts will apply to other zombie maps, but this is more tailored for this smaller, more classic style level. That feels like a, well, it is a gladiator setup. I think it looks pretty cool. So anyways, first off, when you're starting in the earlier rounds, I find the best way to maximize points, at least traditionally, is to do a couple shots and then a stab of the zombies. The zombies continue to get tougher, so it doesn't quite work as well as you go later on. I'd say 5 is sort of like the cutoff level-wise for when you're doing this method. And occasionally, you know, as it kind of goes up, you're going to have to do either more shots and then a stab, or a couple shots and then a couple stabs to sort of maximize your zombie points earlier on. As you can see right there, 2 shots and a stab. And it saves on your ammo too. Or you could just stab them, whatever you'd like. You should be able to open up all the rooms in this place by about round 10 or so. It's not very hard to move through. The things that pop up with the green there, they take a second to load nowadays. They used to just appear, are power-ups. They can give you things like insta-kill, a nuke, double points, stuff like that. I like to think of this map as a circle. So we've got a middle circle, and then we've got 4 outposts. The towers have a higher and a lower point. There is a lower crypt area that sort of mirrors this higher level area. I would suggest getting a gun around level 4 or 5. Any gun will do. Cheaper depending on, you know, based on how good you are as a zombies player, how comfortable you are with it. Because, you know, you don't want to get overwhelmed and die right off the bat, because that is embarrassing. And just a little bit of firepower to move through the zombies. Reviving people is easy, you should work together. But I have noticed that the zombies like to actually crowd players in this one, as opposed to, you know, kind of just leaving them alone once they're down on the ground. I don't suggest boarding up walls unless you're trying to get extra points. There's just no point in spending your time doing so. Those guys look really creepy. So yes, when thinking about this as a circle, I like to use the zombie trade method where you have zombies following you and you work around the map. This one's really good for it because you can have 4 separate areas where people are sort of cycling around and shooting at the zombies. That's when you get to the later rounds, but for the most part you should stick together, or at least in groups of 2s, based on how well you know one another. There are traps to unleash on the map, and to sort of get the pack punch going, you're going to need to run these gongs. The gongs will summon a champion. You kill the champion, you grab the head, take the head, put it on a platter in the middle summoning area, not here but below in the crypt, and that way you're able to get your pack punch going. You'll have to do it, you know, once per tower, obviously. So there's perks, and the perks are kind of, you know, they're set. It's based on what you've done with your class selection. Again, another gong example, and you're seeing that mirrored across the 4 different towers. Each of the towers has a theme. It's pretty quick and easy to understand this map. Again, think of it as 3 circles. You have the higher area, where it's like a peak cutoff. You have the middle section that easily flows around. And then you have the bottom area, which is more of a perfect circle. Jeez. So yeah, zombies, obviously, the best point to hit them is the head. Kills them the fastest. You can move around zombies fairly easily. The problem you have in zombies is when they bunch up and then you're not able to move past them. If you're ever having a point where they're getting too close, you can kind of slide, and that will give you a 2-second getaway, you know, so that you're not dying. Be careful not to slide right into zombies, because that will obviously be the end of you. Cool, right? I mean, once you learn a single tower, you kind of get the idea of applying it to all of them. And when you're thinking about the mystery box, think of it as a mystery box in every other room. See, there's a mystery box. Cool. So the center areas, no mystery boxes. Cool. So then you walk to this area. This is the first room. No mystery boxes, but there's a mystery box up there. And there's a mystery box down there. And then the next room you connect to, no mystery box. But if you go left or right into the side rooms, you'll find a mystery box, followed by an area where there's no mystery box, and then another one. I hope that kind of explains the flow of the mystery boxes. And if you're not familiar with the mystery boxes, you put in 950 coin, and you get a random sort of gun to come and assist your shooting. It looks like they've opened up the basement section. Again, you see this room with nothing going on. Come down here. And what do you see? A mystery box. What? They're kind of creepy and grotesque when they're actual mystery boxes, because there's only one that's an actual mystery box, you know, per level and stuff. you're going to see them as a sort of chest. They've formed into a chest as opposed to being, you know, just that sort of thing. Cool, so there's a mystery box. Always needs to spawn in this area. Use it, and then you get a powerful weapon. Well, not always powerful. Sometimes it sucks. Depends on what you're using it for. Cool. Another detail, you've got your ring on the right-hand side there. These kind of grant abilities for a set amount of time. Know your elixirs before you use them. And, yeah, they all have different abilities and options. We are so not doing well here. Yeah, don't get congested in this one. Stay away from the linear pathways unless you're just moving through them. You don't want to get stuck in such a tight spot because you're going to constantly get killed and not make it far. Which is not what anybody wants in zombies. They want to survive. Every so often, you'll get your super power up, which is LB and RB. You select that prior to starting the match. Mine is like a staff thing that I can disintegrate zombies and hold on teammates to revive them. We've got grenades too, with RB there. And it's very easy to understand the interface. You can see the points for you and your teammates on the left hand side. You can now share mystery box purchases if you'd like. And you see your weapon on the bottom right to make sure you keep ammo. Pack-a-punching makes your gun stronger if you didn't know that, which is why I kind of went over the whole spiel of how to unlock the pack-a-punch on this. And you can see your levels on the top left-hand corner. It's not too bad at the first 10 to 15, but once you get up there, you know, in your 20s, that's where it becomes significantly more difficult. And I'd say most skilled players, you know, 20 to 30 is usually the downfall of their team, unless you're trying to do things like the story-based, you know, thing. But this isn't tips and tricks. We're not going into diving into the story and the complexities of that. Here's the altar that we were mentioning earlier. Kind of a creepy thing. And then Pack-a-Punch comes here, and then you just pay your 5,000 points, and you get like a super cool gun. And everybody feels fancy, and then there's fire. You can jump over the fire, and it's, you know, a little less effective on your character. Pretty cool, eh? These doors are shut, which is part of keeping the flow of the map going in the way they want you to feel congested. Move out of the way. When you have a bleed out, you lose perks slowly over time if you have them. I don't really find that the perks are too effective in this title. They've kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say dumb them down, but they're definitely a little less effective. And there are parts to make special items on this one, as on all the zombies maps now. That's what they've moved to. They've kind of worked towards that part system. So you're able to make a brazen bull shield and a acid trap, which we're not going to go into details for. I just want to mention they are buildable on the level. And you find these parts on different parts of the map, and then you can go to the workshop and hammer them down and make them. Pretty cool, eh? So yeah, we're going to kind of show off the flow of the downstairs area, doing that circle style. This is a good place too for a circle if you want to do, you know, go around. You have an upper area and a lower area that you can, you know, do stuff in. But it is a little bit tighter. Alright, so around the outside here. That's what I mean for circles. You can just kind of go around this in one large circle. They're very narrow hallways, but you shouldn't have too many problems with zombies bunching up unless somebody crisscrosses on your path. Oh crap. Yeah, I gotta buy this door. Just freaking out there because I'm used to it being open. And again, you just go in one nice, easy circle down here. No problems at all, and you can split off and go up to the tower areas if you'd like at any point. Teamwork's kind of important in this one, so I suggest sort of sticking together. Where again, I find twos is that nice soft spot. Unless you're more advanced players where you can trust each other to go off and do your own thing, you know, that's good. The champions are kind of difficult. There's an axe guy, he'll throw axes. I find if you just kind of move to the side, you should be good, but they do sort of lock onto you a bit as well. It's one of the champions. So there's tigers, they can be deadly. Make sure you're looking around in a full direction in order to tackle them because they can cause a lot of damage. If you're buying guns on the walls, there's a couple of good options. I like the KN57 personally. I think it's pretty good. You know, a lot of people, they'll suggest you use gun walls because you're able to swap. You know, you're kind of able to buy ammo and stuff for them even when you go and you pack-a-punch them. And it costs a bit more, but, you know, you're not out of luck if you don't get a max ammo for a while. If you're dry on that, you can still keep going and keep buying items. Again, up to you and the type of zombie player you are. You know, again, it was like Completely personal choice how you play zombies. These are just general tips and concepts that you can use when you're playing it. Again, I really like the setup of the circle of this one. I think they offer a lot of stuff. Here's a workbench where you can put parts together. And then there's that whole upper level. I find that the middle ring is sort of a death trap. Dun, dun, dun. Do you saw that sound? Probably not. And then you're able to grab cheap stuff with the fire sale if that comes up from all of the boxes. But it's also like the death of teams. We always call this like the death trap kind of thing, because, you know, everybody crowds around and buys it and then they die. I do suggest close quarters weapons in this one, or medium range like assault rifles and stuff. You don't really want to be using rockets because it is congested, and it'll do a lot of damage to yourself and kind of blind your teammates, just because it is such a short, tight-knit map. Yeah, that's basically, you know, a good selection of tips and tricks on this particular one for surviving. Obviously, you can buy your perks in the towers, and the towers all lead back to the home. They're all a little bit different, and I think that's a good way to kind of call them out. You can use the top left sort of naming nomenclature for it so you can understand where they are, but I mean, you're gonna just kind of call it out based on what sort of tower, like the marble one, and then there's the grassy one, and you know, they all do something different. Seeing guys go into the middle as we fight the tigers. They're basically the dogs from the older maps, if you remember. You know, those critters from your old days of killing zombies back on the swamp. Yeah, very easy to understand. Drawbridge can be opened. You might want to actually keep the drawbridge closed so that the maps are more cut off and you can use it as an escape route. You know, if you're holding off here, blah blah blah. You know, there's like sort of less areas for them to come through, but the zombies are pretty damn creative these days in terms of where they pop out from. You know, the floor, the ceiling. They're everywhere, right? You just can't escape them. But you can cut off the map quite a bit based on what sort of areas you choose to open or choose not to open. See, this is all open and stuff like that. Or you can go the route where you just make sure accessibility is available for everything. Again, where personal choice comes into the matter. You got your traps. I hope you're kind of maybe keeping an eye out for them too as you see them across the map. The traps will take out zombies. I'm not entirely sure that they're worth it. They can clean up the zombies a bit for you, but your investment's probably better off actually shooting the zombies or buying guns to shoot more zombies with. And the flow is just so nice on this one. I would suggest keeping to these kind of open rooms and cycling around well. See, we're pretty mixed, and oh wow, that actually did clip me. I thought I could slide under that well. Drop the ball on that. But that's one of the traps in motion. You can kind of see how that goes there. Weren't you right beside me? Revive my ass. You can move when you're downed to get to a better position to help, you know, help your teammates. And you do have some gunfire. And I'm back. So you kind of get to keep stuff in this one, which is a little bit weird if you're a past zombies player. Can't believe my teammates let me die like that. When you're going to revive people, make sure you're careful. This one is not really as friendly for reviving others as the past titles were. The zombies will actually like crowd around you when you're down, so that's a little bit different. Usually they would just pretend you don't exist afterwards, but that is not the case anymore. Again, showing off a little bit of routes that you can take when you're playing this level. While it is narrow and congested, and I suggest staying away from the hollow, kind of scary points, there's so much potential for doing trains here and keeping the flow going that I think a lot of people will be able to survive a long period of time. When you're monitoring your character, you can see your health bars when you get hit. You can see one of them deplete, and then it'll regrow after a few seconds, as you're seeing the bottom left hand side. Very easy to understand, and this is a very easy map to play. I mean, you know, it's not too difficult to move fast through it. It's congested, but it's going to be a lot more dangerous once you get to the higher levels, if you don't formulate some good strategies with your teammates to survive longer. Because right now we're just going to get really congested. Watch out for these special ones. They should be the center of your focus initially. As you can see, like a path crossing there. You never want that to happen when you're playing zombies. And again, headshots are key. People that don't get headshots are just wasting bullets. Sometimes the tigers will be mixed into the matches when you're playing. Jeez, gotta watch out for that. Insta-kill is a big deal. You can stab. I wouldn't suggest stabbing during an insta-kill. It's gonna make yourself vulnerable where you can potentially get downed. Nobody wants to get downed during an insta-kill. It's embarrassing.
The fire of Danu has been claimed.
And then you can get like these sort of challenge banners going on. 6 equipment kills. And I hope that sort of goes over some good tips and tricks for this particular map. Again, not showing anything complicated in terms of the story, but just going over general flow layout of the level, what you can sort of encounter. Watch out for those axe guys. Seriously, they're big, tough people. There's a couple different big, tough guys that you sort of challenge on this. And you just gotta be smart. Keep moving away from them. Don't bunch up. You're gonna watch because there's gonna be a mix of zombies and the tougher guys to deal with, and that is not a fun experience for anyone, right? And then you get your prize, and you can work towards getting the Holy Mystical Pack-a-Punch. I think it's a pretty cool level. You know, it's open, it's light, it's easy to see. So you shouldn't have troubles knowing where you're going once you play it 1 or 2 times. You can learn the layout pretty well. Even from this video, you can kind of see it. The whole map, I've moved around it like a number of times because it's so small. It doesn't take long to go through on IX.